All right, we're going to circle back. I need a motion to reconvene as the 2022 Lincoln County Board of Equalization.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Franny, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
yes,
Commissioner Landine?
Yes. So moving over to our Board of Equalization agenda, I have a consent agenda item. I'd consider a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank
Second.
you. Thank you. Franny, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
yes,
Commissioner Landine?
Yes. And then we'll move on to item 1 on our County Board of Equalization agenda. Morning, Carla.
Good morning.
We're handling these parcels separately,
Yes.
okay?
Our first appeal is parcel 100.50.32.J700, owned by Hanish Properties LLC. It's located at 47120 273rd Street in Harrisburg. It is a property approximately 6.75 acres. It does have a accessory or utility building on the property. The current assessment went out at $55,859,000, in which the appellant appealed to the local board of equalization. The local board lowered it to $25,000. The assessor's office appealed back the local board decision, bringing it back to the assessment of $55,859. We have a series of approximately 6 sales that occurred that we showed the appellant and the Board of Equalization. 3 that are most relevant because they had water, either ponding or floodway within the property on the sales. We felt the most comparable to the subject property was comparable 3 of the first set of sales. It was a property that also had a structure, a garage on the property. It sold in 2016, it's an older sale, still relevant for this particular subject, sold for $90,000. Its current assessed value is $91,836. On average, the subject property per acre is being valued at $7,500, within the cost of the sales that we showed you, between $50,971 and $65,000 is the price per acre. The market is indicating sales price of $26,978 to $54,660 per acre. This is the map that shows where the subject is property, with the sales of properties that also had some water issues. And I'd like to skip to that particular page right here. This shows our subject property. Right here is 100% in the floodplain, and we did make an adjustment for that. And then the sales 1, 2, and 3 that also had some water in and around the property. We just wanted to show you a map of what those waterways looked like on the comparable. I showed you some other property sales that are in and around the area. And I apologize, this particular map shows the subject up there, but it's actually just southeast of T. It's located approximately like right in this area, if you can see where the little mouse is at. We did show the subject property located wrong on that particular map. But the assessor's office is recommending to leave the value at $55,859.
Any questions for staff?
Carla, with regard to the comparables, Mr. Hanish here says he's in a flood zone, FEMA flood zone.
Yes.
Are the comparables you used, you said they have water problems, but are they also in FEMA flood zones?
I'm not floodplain administrator, but according to our GIS map, and this is the map that we show, comparable 1 and comparable 2 have portions of their property that look like the subject property. So I would say yes.
And then, just so we're talking about apples to apples, if you know, do those properties also have building eligibilities on them?
That I do not know.
He claims here in his, objection that there is no building eligibility on his property, and it cannot be rezoned for any type of improvement because of its elevation and flooding. I think he's kind of stuck where he's at, given our zoning rules. And I think he's in a unique property position because that floodplain probably, I'm gonna guess he got caught up in it after they changed the floodplain, and then he's stuck with our current zoning rules. I think that's kind of reading between the lines here. But with regard to the comparables, you just don't know if those have building eligibilities on them or not.
Yeah, and I'm not sure on these other comparables.
Thank you.
Can you show us your first page on this one? Thank you.
Yes.
Is the appellant present?
Yes. Yes, he is.
Do you want to come up, sir? You just state your name and address, please.
My name's Adam Hanish. I live in Sioux Falls, but this particular property is down in Harrisburg, 47120 273rd Street.
Sure. What do you want us to know about the property, sir?
So is there any way that I can project some paperwork and pictures up there to show you guys?
There is. There's a camera up in the ceiling, and you can put things directly under it.
Okay, all right. So I don't know if you're familiar with this property or not. I was down here in front of you guys with some other topics, but so I think you'll understand where I'm coming from. There we go. So this is where the property's at, 273rd Street, I-29. Here's a survey of, and I highlighted the shape of it. It's kind of an odd duck because I collected this property in 3 purchases. This original one, then this one, and that little blue building sits right here. But I had an easement setback issue with the property next to it, so I bought a strip of right here to make it right with the neighbor. So let's see.
I noticed it did look like it was right on the property line.
It was, my building was actually 20 inches over onto his, but luckily I had a nice neighbor and we worked it out. So this map illustrates where the property's at again and all this other lines right there. That's 9 Mile Creek and its tributaries. So everything from 9 Mile Creek and everything that comes out of the southeast corner of T goes into a creek or ditch creek that funnels right there and goes through a culvert at 273rd. And so there's 3 parcels that I have, but if you combine them together and they're under one address, they come out to a little over 10 acres. And actually, I found out yesterday that I can get a survey and have it replotted and then have it just plotted under one to keep it simple. But this particular map shows, from planning and zoning with, Kelly Nielsen Construction, who owns the property adjacent to me, of different projects that he has going on that got approved, to go ahead with. And this is more significant because the drainage from how this is changing is there's a ditch that was approved right there. That's gonna drain straight there. So everything coming from the north, that field right there, drains right there. There's actual, and here's 9 Mile Creek. It goes like that. Here's another map that shows more of the development that was approved. I just spoke about these two. Here's my property. Let's see, the creeks run in here. The ditches run in here that got approved to pipe in right there. And there's a big pond right here that was dug out for a retention pond. And that drains right there. So everything from this area in recent years is impacting my property, and I understand what it is. It is what it is. And it goes through a culvert right there. And that culvert was put in 1935. There wasn't any like improvements or developments or making it bigger. The reality is if you make it bigger, it's just gonna flood the people south of me, so. Let's see. The last one I have. And bear with, there it is. So this is an old sketched map that that Luella DeYoung gave me. She used to own all of this property at one time, and then she sold it off in different parts. So we have the 9 Mile Creek. We have that ditch coming through again, draining onto the property. We have that big pond right here, and it is big. I have a big pond, but this is much bigger, drains into the property. The reason this one is significant is because this right here shows established tile that's in that 80 acres up there. And then that tile goes right there, drains into that part. So that kind of highlights all that. Here's some other. Here's the property, and here's the property when it, before any development or building permits or zoning was changed or anything like that. Just a closer view. It shows right here where that culvert bottlenecks everything. Then later on, this is that large retention pond that was put in for this development over here. So both these ponds are always full. Even on the dry seasons, it's full. This area is always wet. So all of this development over here goes into here and then drains. So I think I pretty much established that I have water coming in. This is a closer view of the culvert I was talking about. Everybody kind of floods sometimes, even like Marathon. The water will back up at least once a year. Right here on this road closes because there's water running over the road. Because even if it's dry, if we get like an event where there's like 6 inches of rain all at once, and then you have all of that coming from different areas, and it's not the natural watershed, it just impacts it more. Because there's no way for it to release faster than what that culvert can handle.
Does any of the board have questions for Mr. Hanish?
That's just a shot of how.
Mr. Hanish, I have a
Yes, sir.
question for you. The floodplain that we see up there.
Yes, sir.
Were you, the timing of when you bought the property versus when the current floodplain existed, did you buy the property knowing that you were in the floodplain, or is the new floodplain a result of them redrawing it and applying it to you after the purchase?
After the purchase.
Okay,
And all of this is kind of ongoing.
right,
Right.
right.
Yes. So originally, when I purchased it, the whole property wasn't floodplain. There was, around the creek was, because the creek's gonna swell.
So the
But then
purchase,
it moved out.
so the purchase price that you originally purchased the property for is premised upon something that you could not have understood or known about at the time,
That's correct.
because there's been subsequent development, subsequent changes in topography, and the
Yes.
FEMA floodplain issue.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
This is a shot.
Any other questions for Mr. Hanish?
Adam, you're saying that those retention areas are full all the time, all year long?
All year long. I bought this property in the summer of 13, where my pond is. It's never been lower than where it's going over the road, ever. I don't know if there's springs back there. The pond's like 50 feet deep, and it's never been dry. The creek's been dry in the past from the water coming out of T, but that pond is just stable, so, unless it floods, but it never goes down. So we're looking south here. This is 273. This is 9 Mile Creek right here. And this is the result of the culvert being overgrown and with debris. And I fight this all the time because I try to keep this clear so it drains more effectively. So I'll contact the highway maintenance supervisor to see if they can come down and help out. And since 2013 to present, I've never been able to get any assistance to help with that. So the result is, I go rent a little mini backhoe and clear it out myself. Because in the long run, spending $400 or $500 is gonna save me water issues, or hopefully. So this is in the spring. The second one will be in the fall. It grows that fast. It just fills in with silt and needs to be maintained, but it never is.
Is there any other questions for Mr. Hanish?
No.
If not, consider a motion.
Madam Chair, I would move to value the land at $6,750 and value the building at $4,816, bringing it back down to the 2021 assessment value of $11,566.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? If not, will clerk call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt? Commissioner Landine?
Yes. Motion carries. Next item.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Just kind of getting this early.
Our next appeal is parcel 100.50.32.m300, owned by Hanish Properties LLC. It's a property described as Tract 3 of the Young Addition in Southwest Quarter, Section 32, Township 100, Range 50. It consists of approximately 3.14 acres. This is an appeal that went, the assessment went out at $23,550. The owner appealed it to the local board of equalization. The local board lowered it to $12,000. The assessor's office appealed it back to be heard at county board. This is located right next to the parcel you just heard. We use the same sales in our analysis. The same recommendation is to leave the assessed value at $23,550. I can go over the entire sales with you, but you just heard.
Yeah, that's not necessary.
Yeah, and my only question is, do you know why the local board settled on 12,000? They kind of split the baby with the bathwater there?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Sure, okay.
Sometimes they give us information on the reasoning, but
They didn't hear. Okay.
Sir, and go ahead and let us know what you want to know, us to know about that particular piece.
I think everything, I kind of spoke about the whole property.
Sure.
This is very similar, except this section on the north side is a slough that's always wet year-round. The south side can be dry at times, but it's just part of the whole. So I think
Sure.
talked about that, yeah.
Anybody have any questions for staff or the appellant?
No.
If not, I consider a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we assess this property at what the local board assessed it at $12,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? If not, Franny, we call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine,
Yes. Motion carries.
I'm back.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes.
All right. We're gonna go ahead and
He's
move
on
on
the
to our
thank you.
next hearing, scheduled for 9:50 this morning. Thank you for appearing today, Mr. Hanish.
Thank you.
Is the appellant present here in the audience or on the phone?
No,
Neither one?
neither one.
Okay, go ahead, Carla.
This particular, so our next appeal is parcel number 230.10.07.010, owned by Dale Doan. It's a property located at 208 East Third Street in Worthing. This appeal was tabled. The appellant had an opportunity to bring to the board any insurance documents on any condition or property damage that occurred in 2021 in which he stated happened during our first appeal hearing on Wednesday, the 20th of April. To date, the appellant has not brought in such documents. We did do a inspection on it in April 26, 2022. There was no noticeable damage. The person acting as their agent, Mr. Tony Ventura, called and talked to the county auditor and myself on Friday and stated that they would not be appearing in person. They just weren't able to obtain any documents showing any type of damage. The assessor recommendation is to keep the value at $84,220,000.
Thank you. Any questions for staff?
No.
If not, is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I think myself, Commissioner Schmidt, Commissioner Gibbon were at the original hearing for this. I really wish Mr. Doan would have brought the paperwork in or at least gave us a contractor's estimate. I believe we gave him every benefit of the doubt here, an opportunity to come in. And I just wish he would have brought some documentation in showing the damage that he sustained. But it appears that he's abandoned that claim now. So it pains me to do this with regard to this specific claim because he did aver that there was damage, but I think we have no other choice, and I'll make a motion that we adopt the assessor's recommendation in this instance.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it. I hate to, but I will.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, Franny, we call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
A reluctant yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. Motion carries. Now I would ask for a motion to adjourn as County Board of Equalization.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Franny, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.